Hello there, my name is Isabel and I am your friendly neighbourhood fangirl. College has been keeping me very busy this year with a plethora of creative projects, but I'm so happy to finally be back in my own space here on YouTube, ready to share my first cosplay of 2025 with you. This time last year, I watched Guillermo del Toro's dark fantasy masterpiece, Pan's Labyrinth. In the blink of an eye, it became one of my favourite films. I was devouring video essays and podcast studies dissecting the story almost exclusively in the month that followed. The protagonist, Ophelia, is an 11-year-old girl who possesses a great love for fairy tales. And, after moving with her mother to her stepfather's military base deep in the forest, she finds herself within one. While the nationalists hunt down the rebels, resisting their fascist regime, an ancient faun seeks to return the lost princess of the underworld back to her kingdom. This mysterious creature informs Ophelia that she is Princess Moana reincarnated. If she can complete 3 tasks to prove that her spirit is pure, she will be welcomed home, far away from the horrors of Franco's Spain in 1944. I adore the endless interpretations of this film, the treasury of symbolism in every detail, and the powerful testimony that it heralds, condemning thoughtless obedience. Pan's Labyrinth certainly remains relevant today. I chose to create a costume inspired by the faun because his character effortlessly embodies the energy of this film that I love so much. Also, his appearance is just iconic. Thus, let me be your guide as we take a look at the elements of my interpretation of El Fauno before I whisk you away to the photo shoot. After rewatching the film and taking some notes, I gathered reference images to inform my approach. I hope to get my hands on a copy of the definitive companion one day, as well as that of Del Toro's gothic nightmare, Crimson Peak. But even with what understanding I gained, I was never planning to create a screen-accurate costume. I leave that to the experts quite contently. Designed by Lala Hoyte, voiced by Pablo Adan, and embodied by Doug Jones, the faun is a tall and slender creature with ram-like horns and the engraved bark of an ancient tree across his body. A creature that is neither good nor evil, like nature, Del Toro explained. A character there to be witness and shepherd her in her rite of passage. I watched The Green Knight recently, and the design of the titular character presents a similar expression of nature. If you love costume design, this is another film that you need to watch. Małgorzata Tyszańska's work is marvellous, and her sketches are available to view on her website. Back to Hoyte's faun, one of my favourite aspects of his appearance is how it changes. When Ophelia first encounters him, he looks as if he has lived far longer than what would be kind, but as the story unfolds, the faun ages backwards. This reflects his connection to a non-linear dimension, the underworld, as well as his own ambiguous abilities concerning the manipulation of time and reality. Inspired by this possibility of various appearances, mine takes the form of a big sister, as opposed to the little brother Ophelia's mother is carrying, a form with the potential to be comforting, and perhaps manipulative. After all, the housekeeper Mercedes is interrupted after telling Ophelia, "My mother told me to be wary of fauns." We'll never know if she had more advice to share. There are even some unsettling theories that the faun is lying to Ophelia about everything, that his personal motives are something we will never understand. This moss green off-the-shoulder shirt is what originally gave shape to my take on the faun. It's a second-hand find from a couple of years back that I haven't worn very often. Making it a costume piece, I feel like I'm finally honouring the fairy tale look about it that I adore. If the shirt appears the colour of moss, the skirt could very well be real moss. I made it from my mother's old woolen shawl, attaching elastic around the top, cutting off the tassels that ran along the bottom. A triangular point certainly makes for a unique skirt silhouette. I bought a black velvet bodice to provide some definition to this otherwise unbound combination of clothes. Shopping for it was quite the journey, as I had to travel all the way down to the capital of Labyrinth, Tasmania, but my bus trip was a very lovely time, watching Abigail Adriano's Hadestown vlog and listening to Tamino's new album, Every Dawn's a New Mountain. Because I didn't really make any of the clothes, I put some extra effort into the props that certainly make this cosplay more recognisable, and of course I made a mistake straight away. For the Book of the Crossroads, I found a book second-hand that just about matches the size of the one in this image, measuring 24 by 32 centimetres. This would be fine if I was cosplaying Ophelia, but I'm cosplaying the Faun that's canonically around 7 feet tall. I should have scaled it down because it has to fit in his satchel. Nevertheless, I painted my book crimson with my lovely friend Eleanor and attached a 17 by 25 centimetre cardboard piece on either side to create the lifts. I cut my satchel pieces out of this brown vinyl that I found on a cheap second-hand table. It was pretty hard to work with, so I didn't document anything more than this, but it can be done. Adjusting the fold length to suit my amount of material, I attached a stick wrapped in sections with faux leather cord across the points and rearranged the painted designs to fit my satchel's proportions, roughly 32 by 37 centimetres. I then attached the rope strap with wire and wound some blood orange string around the base of either joint. I also made a pocket of white fabric to support the book sitting inside. I didn't even know about the flute before coming across this great photo. The details of the faun's design are so impressive. Turns out it's the bone that sits across the top of the satchel. I used masking tape to attach 3.5 toilet paper rolls and some scrunched up newspaper for my base. Admittedly, it's supposed to have quite specific ends, but I forgot to check, and so I completed a paper mache layer before painting it. The white was looking too bright against the rest of my colour palette, hence the much darker final look, with smudges of various variant shades. After painting the holes on, I realised that there's a circular pattern around the flute and tried my hand. It's too big to fit across the top of my satchel, but it still makes for a pretty special prop. I used brown spray paint to transform a Pringles can into the fairy case, closing the open end with a circle of cardboard and some super glue. Next, I turned to a small brush for the painting of the opening lines, the circular pattern, and the little grey latches. I found the strap second-hand, hiding the joins with 2 triangular faces that I made out of black clay, another beautiful feature of the faun's design. It's honestly incredible that he appears in daylight for less than a minute. Initially, I wanted to have various props to represent the 3 tasks that he gives Ophelia. The detail on this dagger scared me away from that idea, so I chose to focus on the iconic Pale Man scene instead, another Doug Jones character, and bought some thin white chalk. My final prop is this wooden chalice, a birthday present from my dear friend Veds. With some grapes dangling over the side, it looks as if it could have been plucked from the Pale Man's table. Preparing my hair, I slept with 6 plaits for 2 nights. This guaranteed the look that I wanted, a look that could easily hide my ears because something pretty important has to sit above them: the horns. After watching a range of tutorials, I acquired some long cardboard boxes, unfolded them, and cut 2 extensive strips of 6.5 centimetre width. I rolled these up and cut into their middles to create smaller pieces that could form cylinders with the application of superglue. And, 1 layer of paper mache later, I used hot glue to stack them. I painted my horns various shades of brown before poking the green band of a flower crown through their ends. To make the ears, I cut leaf-like shapes out of second-hand fabric, attached them to one another, and hot glued a pinched fold at one end. I employed hot glue one last time to attach them to the horns, completing the headpiece, something that I'm very proud of. Experimenting with the makeup for this cosplay has taught me a trick that has the potential to completely transform your abilities if you struggle with how motionless it can be. It's this simple. If you mix eyeshadow with a liquid like micellar water, you can create liquid colour. And so I mixed a range of colours, gathered some inspiration images, and went for it. This is a sketch of my take on the Faun's makeup. I also painted the tips of my nails black to hint at his claws. My mum and I drove out to a beautiful forest for the photo shoot. It was like stepping into the film. The sunlight slipping between the trees saved us from what could have been a tedious winter afternoon, and we ended up having a really fun time. Thank you so much for watching.
Am I smiling? What am I doing? Wait, you didn't tell me what to do. Don't know where the rocks are. Hang on, that didn't. Yes, no, that did work. Oh, the horse! You're playing the flute?